In an industry where relationships are often reduced to rumors, headlines, and fleeting fascination, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos have quietly built something far more meaningful. Their marriage has endured not because it is perfect, but because it is intentional. When Kelly recently shared a heartfelt reflection on Live with Kelly and Ryan, it wasn't a polished love story designed for applause. It was an honest look at what it takes to grow alongside another person for decades. Her words stripped away the illusion of effortless romance and replaced it with something far more powerful. A portrait of love shaped by patience, humor, mutual respect, and the daily choice to stay connected even when life is demanding or messy. What viewers don't always see to audiences, Kelly often appears endlessly energetic, sharp, and composed. Someone who balances work, family, and public life with ease. But in her candid reflection, she acknowledged that this image doesn't tell the whole story. Marriage, she explained, is not something that runs on autopilot, even when love is strong. There are moments of miscommunication, exhaustion, and emotional friction that never make it onto a screen. By naming those realities, Kelly offered reassurance to anyone who has ever wondered if struggle means failure. Her message was clear. Effort doesn't signal weakness in a relationship. It signals commitment. From first spark to real partnership. Kelly and Mark's relationship began with undeniable chemistry. But chemistry alone doesn't sustain a life together. She reflected on how their early connection gradually deepened into something steadier and more grounded. What convinced her this relationship was different wasn't a dramatic gesture, but a series of small, thoughtful moments that showed care, curiosity, and consistency. Over time, shared routines and honest conversations became the scaffolding of their partnership. Her reflection gently challenged the idea that love is something that simply happens, instead presenting it as something built deliberately through attention, listening, and emotional presence. Marriage as a team effort parenthood, Kelly shared, reshaped their relationship in ways neither of them could have fully anticipated. Raising 3 children required not just love, but coordination, flexibility, and trust. She described Mark not as a helper, but as an equal partner, someone who shows up emotionally and practically. Disagreements and stress were inevitable, especially while juggling careers and public visibility, but those moments became opportunities to refine how they communicate and support one another. Rather than presenting conflict as something to avoid, Kelly framed it as part of growth, reinforcing the idea that strong marriages aren't defined by harmony alone, but by how couples navigate tension together. The importance of emotional safety. One of the most resonant themes in Kelly's reflection was emotional safety. The freedom to be fully seen without fear of judgment. She described Mark as someone who knows her insecurities, frustrations, and doubts, and still remains steady in his commitment. That sense of acceptance, she suggested, is what allows love to deepen over time. Emotional safety doesn't eliminate disagreement, but it creates space for honesty and repair. In sharing this, Kelly highlighted a truth that extends far beyond celebrity relationships. Enduring love grows where vulnerability is met with respect, not criticism. Laughter as a lifeline. Amid serious conversations about commitment and responsibility, Kelly emphasized the role of humor in sustaining their bond. Laughter, she said, has been one of their most reliable tools, something that diffuses tension and reminds them not to take themselves too seriously. From playful teasing to shared jokes that only they understand, these moments of levity have helped them reconnect during stressful times. Her reflections suggested that joy is not a luxury in long-term relationships, but a necessity. Humor doesn't erase challenges, but it makes them more manageable by restoring perspective and warmth. Learning to compromise without resentment. Kelly spoke thoughtfully about compromise, not as sacrifice, but as collaboration. Marriage, she explained, isn't about winning arguments or keeping track of who gives more. It's about understanding that priorities shift over time and that flexibility is essential. Careers, schedules, and personal goals have required both she and Mark to adjust, sometimes stepping back so the other can step forward. What sustains that balance, she suggested, is mutual respect and the belief that neither partner's needs are insignificant. Compromise works best when it's rooted in empathy rather than obligation. Love in ordinary moments. Perhaps the most grounding part of Kelly's reflection was her emphasis on the ordinary. She spoke not of grand milestones, but of quiet routines. Conversations at the end of long days, shared meals, and moments of checking in with one another. These small interactions, she noted, are where love often lives most authentically. Over time, they create a sense of continuity and trust that no single dramatic moment can replicate. Her insight served as a reminder that enduring relationships are built less on spectacle and more on consistency, kindness, and showing up when no one is watching. Facing pressure. Together, living in the public eye has added a unique layer of pressure to their marriage. But Kelly was clear that it has also strengthened their sense of partnership. External expectations, speculation, and professional demands could have created distance, yet they learned to protect their private connection. She shared that during periods of stress or uncertainty, Mark's steadiness helped her regain balance. Rather than allowing pressure to divide them, they used it as a reason to communicate more clearly and lean into their shared values. Their approach demonstrated that resilience in marriage grows when challenges are faced together, rather than individually. Redefining what success looks like. Kelly's reflections subtly reframed the concept of success, not as constant achievement or public validation, but as emotional sustainability. A successful marriage, she suggested, is one where both people feel supported, respected, and understood over time. It's measured not by appearances, but by the ability to weather change without losing connection. By sharing this perspective, she offered viewers permission to define fulfillment on their own terms, free from comparison or unrealistic ideals. A story that resonates beyond celebrity. What made Kelly's reflection so impactful was its relatability. Though her life unfolds on a public stage, the emotions she described, doubt, gratitude, joy, and perseverance, are universal. Her openness reminded viewers that love is not something we arrive at, but something we practice. By choosing honesty over polish, she transformed a celebrity conversation into a shared human moment, reinforcing that meaningful relationships are shaped by intention, humility, and care. The quiet strength of lasting love. In the end, Kelly Ripa's candid discussion was not about admiration or myth-making. It was about truth. Her marriage to Mark Consuelos stands as an example not of perfection, but of persistence. Their journey reflects the beauty of choosing one another repeatedly, through change, pressure, and growth. By speaking openly, Kelly offered a reminder that lasting love is not effortless, but it is deeply rewarding when nurtured with patience, humor, and respect. Their story affirms that the most meaningful relationships are not defined by how they look from the outside, but by how they are lived, honestly, imperfectly, and with intention.